A narcissist will never find another you. Not in this lifetime. What you're trying to understand isn't something most people grasp overnight. Psychologists often describe healing from narcissistic abuse as a kind of cognitive unmasking. A slow, sometimes painful peeling back of illusions until the truth finally settles deep inside you. For some people, this truth hits like a lightning bolt because they've been surviving on emotional fumes for so long that any clarity feels like air. For others, it takes time. Their minds have been trained to see the narcissist through the lens of hope, potential, or compassion. But no matter which path you're on, the core truth remains the same. Narcissists make bad choices again and again, and they don't stop. These choices aren't just impulsive mistakes. Psychologists say narcissists often lack a stable internal compass. No inner voice that whispers, "This pain has meaning," or "This struggle will strengthen me." Most healthy people have something like that. Maybe not religious faith, but a deep, subconscious belief that hardship shapes us. That belief helps the brain regulate stress and stay resilient. Narcissists don't have that. They only mimic it when they're in your presence, borrowing your grounding energy, your emotional structure, your sense of purpose, because inside, they are directionless. They move through life guided by ego, fear, and the desperate need to stay in control. That's why their lives leave a trail of damaged relationships behind them. Not just romantic ones. They betray friends, divide families, manipulate coworkers, discard allies. It's a pattern so consistent that psychologists can map it like a formula. They present themselves as charming, kind, even trustworthy. But behind the mask, they're always scanning for the next advantage. And then, they met you. You were stability, empathy, emotional wealth, things they stumble upon by accident. What you need to understand is that someone who repeatedly makes self-destructive choices cannot upgrade from you. They don't even have the inner structure to do better. Meanwhile, you have been transforming. Survivors of narcissistic abuse don't walk away unchanged. You confront old wounds, raise your standards, sharpen your intuition, and grow in ways the narcissist couldn't begin to fathom. You stop comparing yourself to other people. You compare yourself to who you were 6 months ago, a year ago, and realize you've climbed out of a place you never thought you'd escape. Some of you say, "It's been months. They haven't come back. They probably don't care." But psychologists remind us, narcissistic regret is nothing like healthy remorse. They don't mourn the pain they caused. They mourn the loss of benefit. They only realize your value after they've lost access to it, but admitting that would require vulnerability, and their entire identity depends on never letting anyone see them crack. And yet, sometimes they do slip. I heard a story recently at a gathering. The narcissist approached someone they once discarded, went in for an unexpected hug, and immediately began complaining about the new supply. Psychologists say these moments reveal everything: resentment toward the new person, envy toward you, and a subtle attempt to reinsert themselves into your emotional world. They'll never say, "I'm lonely," or "I messed up," because rejection terrifies them more than anything. So they hide behind indirect behavior: smugness, passive-aggressive jokes, faux confidence. What's remarkable is how many people return months later saying, "It happened. They hoovered." And it's important to understand what that means. The hoover isn't love. It's not accountability. Psychologists describe it as an attachment panic response. Their fear of losing control over someone who once stabilized their identity. This is why their hoovers often feel bizarre or creepy. They're not trying to communicate. They're trying to destabilize you. Confusion is their strategy because it weakens boundaries. This is why so many victims report strange online behavior. Anonymous profiles, odd messages, cryptic posts, inside jokes only you'd understand. Therapists call this covert signaling. Narcissists use breadcrumbs, not conversations, because it keeps them emotionally hidden while pulling you emotionally forward. One man told me he eventually recognized the pattern. He responded subtly just to observe, and sure enough, the narcissist's behavior became a puzzle he could finally decode. They were testing him, probing for weakness, looking for the smallest crack in the door. And that brings us to the psychological bottom line. Narcissists are predictable because their inner world is a storm they can't escape. But your world, slowly, quietly, is becoming steadier, clearer, stronger. Even if you don't fully see it yet, your transformation is already underway, and they can feel it. Many of you aren't checking their social media. Some of you don't even use social media at all. And because of that, you're not seeing the tiny tremors, what psychologists call behavioral leakage. Those strange little breadcrumbs narcissists scatter when they're trying to get under your skin. I'm not suggesting you go look. In fact, for most survivors, staying away is one of the healthiest decisions you can make. But what does matter is understanding their intention. Whether you're watching or not, whether they've jumped to a new supply, pushed you out of a family system, or simply vanished into thin air, every move they make serves one toxic psychological purpose: to get an emotional rise out of you. Psychologists refer to this as projective regulation. The narcissists attempt to manage their own internal chaos by provoking emotions in someone else. They do this because their inner world is collapsing long before anyone sees it. Even if they look composed, even if they seem to be thriving with a new supply, their mind is filled with insecurity, shame, envy, and a desperate hunger for validation. When they move on to someone new, they expect the same emotional high they once got from you. But that high fades fast, and when it does, they turn their attention back to you, not out of love, but because you were the emotional anchor they haven't been able to replace. And even if they don't speak to you for months or years, the silence is intentional. Psychologists point out that withholding closure is one of the narcissist's most calculated tactics. Closure would set you free. Silence keeps you suspended. It helps them maintain a sense of dominance. They want to feel like they won, even when things in their new life are already falling apart. Deep down, they know they won't find another you, but they would rather choke on their pride than say it out loud. Vulnerability is dangerous to them, and they will do almost anything to avoid it. But sometimes the mask cracks, like the story of the man at a party, the narcissist who, after a few too many drinks, tried to play it cool but ended up ranting about how awful the new supply was. Psychologists say moments like these are revealing. Alcohol weakens the rigid defenses that keep the narcissist's image intact, allowing pieces of their true emotional reality to slip out. Regret, jealousy, bitterness, fear. You might never witness such a moment, and you shouldn't chase it. But know that these slips do happen, and they tell the truth the narcissist works relentlessly to hide. Most narcissists will never admit their mistakes. They won't tell you the new supply is unhappy. They won't confess that their life has spiraled downward. They certainly won't admit they downgraded. Their entire psychological survival depends on maintaining the illusion of perfection and superiority. And yet, many of you take their silence or their highlight reel life as proof that you were the problem. Psychologists call this internalized shame trauma, a pattern where victims blame themselves for the narcissist's behavior. You start overanalyzing your flaws, your insecurities, and begin convincing yourself that someone better took your place. But here's the psychological truth. There is only one you. There has never been another you, and there never will be. No one can copy the way you love, the way you feel, the way you intuitively sense things before they happen. No one can replicate your depth, your compassion, or the quiet strength you carried long before anyone appreciated it. The narcissist knew this. They fed on it. They stayed close to it, not because of anything superficial, but because of your emotional essence. Psychologists often note that empaths and survivors of narcissistic abuse share a heightened spiritual sensitivity. And this sensitivity is exactly what the narcissist becomes addicted to. That's why so many people from different cultures, religions, backgrounds, and belief systems all end up in the same place of awakening. When your eyes open, everything looks different. But awakening often brings self-doubt, guilt, and a feeling of being not enough. These emotions aren't proof that you were the problem. They're withdrawal symptoms from emotional conditioning. The narcissist trained your mind to see yourself as lesser, so even after they're gone, your brain repeats that narrative out of habit. I've seen this pattern in my own life. When I've parted ways with friends or cut off toxic connections, even when I owned my share of the mistakes, I always knew they lost more by losing me. Not because of ego, but because of clarity. And that's a mindset I want you to develop. Trauma may whisper lies. Your mind may drift back into old wounds. But the deeper truth is unshakable. No one can replace you. No one can offer the emotional nourishment you did. You were not just supply, you were a lifeline. Psychologists consistently observe that narcissists don't get addicted to just anyone. They become fixated on specific people who regulate their emotional instability. And you were one of those rare few. But here's the part you need to hold on to: you were one of their bad choices. They didn't enter your life with honesty or transparency. They stepped into your world by betraying someone else, manipulating a situation, or damaging a relationship. They acquired you through destruction, and that is the pattern of their entire existence. And perhaps the hardest truth of all is this: psychologists emphasize that narcissists heal through the people they use. You helped patch wounds from their past, even as they tore new ones into you. But their healing is fleeting, shallow, conditional. Meanwhile, yours is real, permanent, and transformative. Because unlike them, you are built for growth. Psychologists often say that dysfunctional families don't just pass down habits, they pass down emotional chains. When a parent, sibling, or relative tries to heal through another family member, what they're really doing is outsourcing wounds they never dared to confront. Instead of sitting with their guilt or grief or shame, they cling to the most emotionally available person in the room. The child who grew up too fast, the sibling who always soothed everyone, the one who became the strong one because nobody else knew how to be. This is what psychologists call enmeshment trauma, a dynamic where someone uses you not as a person, but as their emotional prosthetic. And the heartbreaking part is this: they only understand what you meant to them after the day you finally step away. But narcissists, their reaction is different, almost mechanical. When they lose you, they don't sit in reflection. They don't look inward. Their mind rushes instantly into panic-driven replacement mode. They scramble for someone new, not because that person is better, more beautiful, or more compatible, but because the narcissist cannot survive the emptiness of their own unhealed wounds. Psychologists say narcissists choose new supplies the way gamblers choose slot machines. Impulsively, strategically, and always for personal gain. They scan for emotional availability, insecurity, social benefit, anything they can exploit. And very often, the new supply is chosen specifically to hit one of your insecurities. They want you to see that person and think, maybe I wasn't enough. It's not romance. It's psychological warfare dressed up as a relationship. When they parade the new supply online, don't mistake it for confidence. It's a performance, a message, a manipulation. It's their twisted way of saying, look how easily I replace you. But psychologists warn, the more theatrical their happiness looks, the more unstable they actually are inside. Healthy people move on quietly. Narcissists move on loudly, dramatically, obsessively. And if you pay attention, the cracks always slip through the edges of their performance. And this is why you must hold onto this truth. Anyone who walks away from your life loses far more than you do. Empathy, accountability, emotional depth. These qualities are becoming rare as trauma becomes normalized in our world. Losing someone like you isn't losing just a partner or relative. It's losing a stabilizer, a grounding force, a sanctuary. Meanwhile, you will continue to evolve. You will expand. You will grow into a version of yourself they were never equipped to appreciate. And deep down, beneath all their bravado, they know it. Psychologists often remind us that even if you don't believe in God or the universe or anything spiritual, certain endings are necessary for growth. Some relationships must break so you can become who you're meant to be. And nothing triggers a narcissist more than watching someone they underestimated rise from the rubble they created. They track you quietly, obsessively, sometimes through fake profiles or mutual acquaintances, sometimes through those weird little online breadcrumbs. They don't watch because they care. They watch because your growth exposes their stagnation. And here's the psychological bottom line. Narcissists do not evolve. They do not heal. They do not ascend. They seek relief, distraction, and emotional anesthesia, not transformation. So they fall into predictable cycles. Toxic partners, unstable relationships, chaotic dynamics that mirror their own inner turmoil. Psychologists call this the narcissistic collapse cycle, a loop of temporary highs followed by inevitable disappointment. Meanwhile, you, the person who chose healing, Move steadily toward clarity, peace, and emotional adulthood. So stop blaming yourself. Self-blame is the final echo of their manipulation, the ghost they leave behind. It whispers, "You weren't enough. They found better. You were the problem." But none of it is real. Trauma therapists explain that self-blame is the brain trying to create order out of chaos. It's a survival reflex. And once healing begins, you start to see the truth clearly. You lost someone who could never love you, and they lost someone who could have changed their entire life. Take your time. Don't rush into anything. Psychologists often say the moment you stop searching for something to fill the void is the moment meaningful relationships appear naturally. Healing changes your frequency. Growth changes your environment. Peace changes the kind of people who can enter your world. And here's the twist most survivors don't understand until much later. If the narcissist had access to you today, the version of you who has grown, healed, reflected, and matured, you would be a more valuable supply than ever, more self-aware, more confident, more grounded, but also far less tolerant of mistreatment. That's the exact reason they can never have you again. They didn't just lose the old you, they lost every future version you will grow into. So thank you for staying until the end of this message. Your growth is already unfolding, even if you can't see it yet. And no matter how many masks they wear, how many replacements they parade, or how loudly they pretend to have moved on, the truth remains unshakable. They will never find another you.